This is a small quilt that's made out of Star Wars fabric, and I'm going to quilt it with the Star Wars pattern. Now I set this up in the edge-to-edge mode, and you can see that on the screen, edge to edge. So I'm not going to quilt it in the edge-to-edge mode, but I set it up in the edge-to-edge mode. I'm at the upper left corner. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to quilt. It'll move to the start point. And I will just go ahead and pick up the bobbin thread. And I'm going to hit cancel, which is stop in the old program. And it says, if you haven't finished quilting all the patterns in this band, are you sure you want to stop? Yes, I do. What am I going to do now? I'm going to just right click somewhere, tell it I want to relocate, shift all to one point. You can see what it says here on the screen. I'm going to click yes. It's going to get me out of relocate, or get me out of the edge-to-edge mode into relocate edge-to-edge. Repeat patterns. Click on a known point. I'll just click on this start point. Turn on my end snap. Let it snap to that. Click yes. Now I'm in the repeat patterns edge-to-edge mode. I'm going to delete this old boundary and draw a new boundary. The new boundary has been drawn, and now I'm ready to quilt this. Remember, I'm in repeat patterns edge to edge now. I'll quilt this row, then I'll show you how I can relocate this project. I am at the end of the first row. I have cut the bobbin thread, and I'm ready to roll the quilt and do a relocate. Cut the thread. I know that I can only quilt one row. I do not toggle all the other rows as unsewn. I simply press the lower right button. When the machine starts to move, I hit the lower center button to cancel or stop, and then I will roll the quilt. A good point to do my relocate is this sharp point right there. I'm going to scroll in, I have the nodes, put my mouse cursor there, hit the D key to divide it. You can see I have divided this pattern. Now I'll turn on the end snap, right click, do a relocate, shift all to one point. With the end snap on, see it's going to snap to that point where I divided it at the end of that point. Then I'll just say yes. Now my patterns have already automatically been shifted to the new point that I'm going to stitch. So it's all lined up now. All I have to do is go ahead and make a new boundary. I'm going to delete this old boundary, turn off that end snap, and make sure it's off. Okay. Delete the old boundary, L key to select the boundary, delete key to delete it. Then I will make a new boundary. New boundaries in place. The pattern's been adjusted. This tail here has been pulled out to the binding area, edge of the quilt. So now I'm ready to stitch the next row. Second row is finished. I cut the bobbin thread again, clicked the continue, and then when the machine started to move, I click stop. There's a reason I do that. If you don't do that, this last repeat in the last row you stitched will be toggled unsewn. Now I've rolled the quilt. I'm ready to do my relocate. Again, the needle is right at that point, right there. I'm going to right click to get my nodes, then divide that. Right click, relocate, shift all to one point, have my end snap turned on, let it snap to it, click yes. Patterns have been shifted to the new location. I'm ready to draw the boundary, stitch the sides, and quilt again. Okay, everything is set. New boundaries in. I've adjusted everything. Adjusted the right side. Now, I have about 29 3/4 inches of quilt left. And I have 2 rows left. So I'm going to select those 2 rows. So we're pretty close here. 29.67. If I want to, I can increase this just a little bit. So I'll call it 29 3/4, and I may have to make a small adjustment in this last row, but I'm going to be very close. Okay, just in case you have a pattern that you do not have a point like these 2 points, very sharp. Say the bottom edge of your pattern is all curves, and you don't have a point that you cannot do the relocate from. And maybe the start and end are at the top like this pattern, and you can't use the start point or the end point to do relocate. Well, here's another method that you can use. Use the select all and hold down your control key. I want to move this point right there, bottom of this curve, up to where the needle is located. So I'm going to zoom in where you can see the needle location, where the crosshair is, and the bottom of this curve. And we'll watch it just go up to that point. Hold down the control key, use the up arrow in the 4-button pad, left, right, up, down, and click. See how it moves? Every time I make a click, it moves that pattern. I'll just keep clicking, let it move. When it gets close, I will use the Alt key, because the Alt key makes a finer adjustment. Now, I hold down the Alt, press the up arrow, let it move very slowly into position. I'm going to zoom in even further here so we can see what's going on. I want it to be right there. That's where I want that to be located. Now I have my patterns all shifted. I'm ready to base this down and then put in my final boundary and see what kind of adjustment I need to make at the bottom of the quilt. I made an adjustment when I had 2 rows to quilt. Now I'm at the bottom of the quilt. You can see I only have a small adjustment to make here. And you know what I think I will do is I will just draw the marquee and move this pattern in like that. I'll click to get out of that, get my node, draw this end point out to the edge. Then I think, since I don't want to space through here hardly, I think what I'm going to do is just select these 2 repeats, right click, do a fill inside, and this way I will have this quilted very close all the way across the bottom edge. That's how easy it is to use repeat patterns to do my edge-to-edge quilting. Now, I've gone from beginning to end of the quilt. All that's left is to stitch the last row.